I think somebody put some alcohol in my soda this morning.
I wonder who that was.
I don't know what's going on here. Big news here this morning. Big local news in the sports world. And I'd love to be able to grab Ron Mosier to talk about this. But Mike Adie has announced that he is retiring from New York Mills.
I know, and boy, how many state championships does that guy have, and how many runs to the state tournament?
It's incredible. And he would have loved
really
to have. I'm assuming he would have loved to have ended on a different note, as the way things ended this year. But at the same time, an amazing season, Andrew.
Of course, he'll be coaching
an amazing career.
Yeah. Well,
really, probably. I think the most successful. Is there a Class D team that's more successful in high school basketball?
I couldn't imagine.
I don't think there is.
Well, I believe he'll be joining us tomorrow. But one of the big things too is that his big last win will be the Celebrities versus Cops basketball game, and hopefully he'll be coaching that team to a win.
I was going to say I was actually coached once by Mike Adie, and it was in the Cops versus Celebrities game. And by the way, we did win. And he does not fool around. Like, obviously, we don't have set plays when we do this celebrity game. We don't. Half the people I don't think have played basketball in at least 20 years. However, he's out there. You set a pick. You do this. He's drawing up plays. And it's in his blood. So
he's probably going to take one look at me and say, "Just sit on the bench there." For
I do want to ask him when we speak with him. And by the way, his son Brian Adie coaches with him. Mm-hmm. I wonder if Brian has the opportunity to be able to possibly take over that program. It would be interesting to see what happens there. But they've had a great run.
Yeah, and
I really do wonder when because I watched the game between Oriskany and New York Mills in the sectionals. And I do wonder. There was just 8 seconds left. They were down. It was out of reach. And Mike Adie called timeout. And he called all of his players over. And and I'm thinking, here are these seniors that are done, and they're not going to. This is it. It's all over with here. And he was probably thanking them and reminding them to, probably didn't have to remind them to be good sports. He's a coach that drills that in, and I think that that probably wasn't even an issue. But I wonder now if he was in the back of his mind, if he knew at that time this was it, and that was a moment for him just as much as it was for the players and for the seniors. I wonder.
Could have been, yeah.
But a great basketball coach, Mike Adie, and we'll be speaking with him tomorrow morning. How great is he? He can't talk to us now because he's in church.
Yeah.
Sarah Palin skipped her husband yesterday. Now, I know probably some people feel that she's getting shortchanged on this and getting some heat that is undue. Sarah Palin canceled her Trump-related appearances yesterday morning because her husband, Todd, was in a serious snowmobile accident and was in intensive care with 8 broken ribs. Then, in the middle of the day, out of nowhere, Sarah Palin changed her mind and decided to show up at the Trump rally all over again.
I can just imagine what that conversation was like. He must have said, "Sarah, listen, I need you. Our doctors, it's going to be great. He's going to be huge. He's going to be fine. Trust me, the doctor will cure your husband. Just come out for me."
You're right. That's probably how it went down.
Todd told her, "Don't be ridiculous. I'm fine. You can't do anything here. Go to Trump."
I'm fine.
Just if you don't come back.
Here she is. There's 2 things I want to talk about this from yesterday, and I know the Trump lovers are going to be all, just.
Well, they already hate us, Bill. So.
Hear me out here. I want to talk about this clip, and then I want to just for a moment talk about Chris Christie, who I believe right now is currently being held hostage by the Trump camp. He doesn't want to be there. We'll get into that coming up in a second. Here's Sarah Palin talking about all this yesterday as she's speaking to the Trump. She's really introducing Chris Christie.
I don't even know where to begin there.
By the way, is the media really on the side of anybody in this? I think that you take a CNN, they just keep showing it over and over again. I don't know whose side they're on.
Yeah,
they didn't even care about the missing plane piece.
Yeah, this is big. Shore. This is big time for CNN. Go ahead. There's your future. I don't know.
Try to tiptoe through the tulips once again here.
Is she looking for another vice presidential bid?
I don't think she'll get that.
I don't think she will either. I don't think it helps Trump. I think he's aware of that. And
I don't think it helps Trump either, but he keeps having her show up at these rallies.
Well, she was gone for a while. I think he knows that there is a chunk of voters who really are huge Sarah Palin fans, and I think he's trying to draw them in while also keeping distance. Now, was he at this event as well?
Yeah,
she
introduced Chris Christie.
Okay.
Who then did the interview with Donald Trump, and they were sitting on kind of a couch, two big chair type things. And I just, after all of that, I mean, what is Chris Christie thinking right now? What is going through the mind of Chris Christie right now?
It's almost like, when you go to a concert and there's like the opener, but then there's the opener for the opener. Like there's the person that plays to like half the room. That was Palin. And then, Christie was brought on, and he's up and coming in the world. He's kind of trying to look and ride the coattails of Trump. So
I'm watching Chris Christie yesterday, and here's how I describe Chris Christie. Chris Christie is the guy at the drunk party that hasn't had anything to drink. And he's sitting there, and everything going on around him, he's just kind of looking around like, oh, my God, when is this going to end? And it almost looked like he was there and being held hostage. And then he interviews, so he throws the questions out at Trump. That's the format that they were doing yesterday. But it is surreal. It is a moment that is just surreal. And I don't know how to describe it. I just don't know what to say.
I think the Larry David meme said it all. Or the Curb Your Enthusiasm meme where he's kind of, what have I got myself into? Where he's in the background at the Trump rally, and it zooms out on him and it's playing the Larry David music, Chris Christie and Donald Trump.
I'm completely lost. Here's Christine with an update, though. I don't know what you're talking about.
You've never seen that?
Here's Christine with an update.